Imagine you're a mammal skittering around on the ground. The climate is hot, but somewhat humid. You look around. The trees are growing at enormous scales, holding delicate flowers and their sweet nectar, with insects buzzing from one flower to the next. But suddenly, the ground trembles as stampedes of tetrapods rush past as a blazing hot light dashes across the sky. You follow your instincts and burrow. This was the end of dinosaurs. Welcome to the Cretaceous. Hi, y'all. So we're doing the Cretaceous today. Very, very special. Why? Because it marks a boundary between the Paleozoic and Cenozoic. It's like, um, the boundary between like modern times ish, like modern times in terms of eras and what happened before on Earth. So yeah, pretty historic. And I mean, Cretaceous was like booming with dinosaurs and everything, reptilians, some mammals as well, but we'll get to that point. Because I will talk about some climate stuff first. We always talk about climate stuff first. Why? Because the history of climate is interesting. Yeah, it is quite interesting. Now, sorry. I mean, from the Jurassic, yeah, there was the breakup of Pangea, and there was like the formation of the Atlantic Ocean. There was a formation of the Pacific. Wait, what? No, the Pacific technically was there, but it was larger, and so it was called the Panthalassa Sea. No, Panthalassa Ocean. So, yeah, technically it was already there, but I mean, it just got smaller. But technically, not really, but technically, yes, if you get what I mean. Anyways, the continued break of Pangea led to the formation of many other oceans and bodies of water, like Gulf of Mexico, Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbean Sea. And so that allowed for like a lot more humidity in some areas, and especially along the equator because of the sun's insolation and radiation that caused like a lot of water to rise and evaporate, and that caused like a low pressure area forming clouds around that area, which yeah, would have drifted around because of wind and ocean currents. And so that would have delivered a lot more rain to areas where rain wasn't, prevalent because of Pangea. Most of Pangea was literally a desert. It was like the edges were nice and green, there were forests because it was humid, and the middle part is just desert, blazing desert, hot. But now that's changed, and the warmer, more humid conditions allowed for the formation of coral reefs as far as 30 degrees from the equator. That is crazy. A lot more biodiversity, a lot more habitats for tropical fish. And so, yeah, a boom. And then other indicators, there were other indicators of warm climate. So, for example, there was the fossils of breadfruit in Cretaceous Greenland deposits in Greenland. Yeah. Um the world back then was pretty hot, pretty humid, and that allowed for a lot of life. Where today we don't usually see a lot of life because I mean, look at Greenland, it's like around 80, 70 degrees north of the equator, and you don't get a lot of precipitation, you don't get a lot of rain, and so that place is arid, that place is dry. So yeah, it helped a lot of plants and animals to develop. And then, I mean, because of the warm and humid conditions of that time, deciduous trees, like trees that drop their leaves in winter, became more conspicuous during the Cretaceous and dominated the majority of landscapes. And most of these trees were flowering, and I mean, by the Upper Cretaceous, they comprised of, they made up 90%. No, hold on. Let me reword myself. Sorry. By the Cretaceous, they made up more than 90% of plants. There we go. In the Upper Cretaceous, they made up more than 90% of the plants. Yeah, sorry. And then, now, I'm gonna be blabbering on about this different species. Stay with me. Now, amongst the oldest from the early Cretaceous, which honestly are still living today. Magnolia. I love magnolias. They're so pretty. Fig trees, sassafras trees, yeah, and poplar trees. So like firs, evergreens. There were evergreens back then, but these are like different types, you know. And then by the Middle Cretaceous, forests were modern with trees such as birch, beeches, maples, oaks, walnuts, sweet gum, breadfruit, and tulip trees. Now, I've never seen a tulip tree, but I searched it up, and boy, do they look like tulips. They are so pretty. They are so pretty. But not only were like these trees there back in the day, there were also like shrubs such as laurels, ivies, hazelnuts, and hollies. So practically a modern forest, you know? And you might be thinking, oh, where are the conifers? Where are the evergreens? Poplar trees are hold on. Poplar tree. Maybe they are. Poplar trees are part of the willow family. I rescind my idea. I rescind my statement. Sorry for the yeah. Anyways, I'd like to say that this is a very informal podcast. I'd like to put that forward. Anyways, you might be thinking, where are the conifers and the evergreens? Yeah, they were still present, otherwise we wouldn't have them today. But obviously they weren't as dominant as they were. So, for example, sequoias, like redwood trees are also evergreens. Yeah, they are. I love redwood trees. They're so pretty and so tall. I would love to live in a cabin in the forest of them. I would love to do so. Beautiful. Anyways, psychodioids? Yeah, psychodioids. Psychodioids were also the dominant plant in the upper land areas. And, now, marine reptiles. They were a big thing back then. Not so much today, because guess what? We only have turtles. And technically, we have some sea snakes, like the banded sea crate, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's one of the most, toxic. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the most, oh, sorry, not toxic, venomous. What am I talking about? Venomous. See, gotta use good vocabulary. Yeah. But back then, guess what we had? We had the ichthyosaurs. Which honestly reached their peak before the Cretaceous and they kind of fell off from there. But the plesiosaurs maintained their power over the marine food web. They were the most dominant. No, they weren't the most dominant. Guess who was the most dominant? Mosasaurus. The one who ate the, what? What, Indominus Rex. There we go. I kind of forgot. Whoops. Mosasaurs, who grew to be as long as 35 feet. 35 feet. Okay. Scaly. They were scaly. Like, you might have seen in, what, the new Jurassic World trailer? Oh, they're shiny! No, they had scales. Um, but anyways, still terrifying. 35 feet! And guess what? Technically, they could kind of dislocate their jaws like boa constrictors. Well, not really dislocate, but it's kind of the same mechanism. They had extra joints in their jaw to help make their mouth open wide to like swallow an entire thing whole. Scary. They had 5-fingered flippers for locomotion, and they were speedy because of that. I would not want to be in the oceans at that time. Nuh-uh. Not only that, but they were big, big marine turtles. For example, Archelon, which measured 11 feet in length and 12 feet in width from flipper to flipper. No, no thank you. That's like a box coming at me. If I were swimming, if I were like lazily cruising around in the ocean, and I looked down and the box was swimming at me, I would instantly cry. I know it. I would cry. Just saying. Not only that, but I mean, crocodiles have been on Earth forever. They were present in rivers and streams. You're not safe anywhere in the water, I guess. Yeah, I kind of, my favorite, I think, are of, like, marine reptiles would be the ichthyosaurs. They're so cute. I would want a plushie of them, not gonna lie. Anyways, pterosaurs, less numerous than they were in the Jurassic, but were larger and more specialized. Yeah, scary. Again, would not want to anywhere near the Cretaceous. Absolutely not. No, thank you. Yeah, they were larger and more specialized than the Jurassic ones, but they didn't have teeth like the Jurassic specimens. So, the largest ever recorded pterosaur, Quetzalcoatlus, had a wingspan of 25 feet, making it the largest winged animal of all time. Great! Even with a large wingspan, the size of the body was no more than a goose. So, it's kind of like Batman, but with a small... Batman with big ego, but very, very bad gadgets. That's a bit funny. I'm sorry. It's not funny at all. Yeah. And then many pterosaurs struggled on the ground and were helpless. And because of that, many believe that pterosaurs spent most of their lives soaring over the oceans, like stopping from one island to the other, maybe. I mean, like, there was this big pterosaur back in the day that used to live on an island of genetically smaller dinosaurs. Like, because they were so isolated from other dinosaurs, they just got smaller. That was the reason why. And I guess like a pterosaur called Hatzegopteryx kind of just not profited, but used it to their own advantage and kind of just ate a lot of the small dinosaurs. Just saying. It's nice spreading knowledge. Yeah. Anyways, birds are more nice to talk about. The first appearance of birds was Hesperornis. Hesperornis. Hesperornis? Regalis, whatever. I'm sorry. I can't. Hesperornis regalis. Yes. This is an informal podcast. where I share my findings with you. Exactly. Anyways, found with numerous specimens in chalk deposits of Kansas. Kansas. With vestigial wings, so like remnants of wings. They're like cute and well adapted. They were well adapted to marine life. So, in that sense, I think because I read this off of a journal, that was very brief, and I love those journals. They're so nice, and I can like make my own thoughts. Anyways, um, well adapted to marine life, padded, feet, obviously sleek, kind of like waterproof feathers. What? Well, not really. Water. Think of Gore-Tex. Kind of like that. And I looked at the images online, and they look like the modern penguin and the great auk. Like the great auk, the one that got extinct because of us. Yeah, because of us. They look like them. Yeah. Except, in the recreations, they look gray. Now, I know that the Cretaceous is all about dinosaurs. Like, everything that everyone talks about is dinosaurs during the Cretaceous. But I think the mammals are heavily slept on, which is why I introduced with mammal. They are heavily slept on. It was during this time where they started giving live birth. They started, well, around this time in the Jurassic, they started giving live birth. They started breastfeeding. That's like a big change from what we had before with the amniotic eggs. That's a big thing. That's a big change. And I haven't seen a lot about it, which is honestly embarrassing. This is about our evolutionary history, and not much has been covered about it, because everyone has been fixated on the dinosaurs, which, honestly, I see why, because, look at us, and look what we had before. These big, big reptiles just stomping around on land. Who wouldn't be fixated on that? Anyways, sorry for the rant. But yeah, not a lot has been found about the mammals. It's kind of sad. Yeah, there's been like fragmentary remains of their jaws. And mainly jaws, but other bits as well. Found from the Lower Cretaceous from Texas, and found from the Upper Cretaceous from the Western Interior, all from America. And like what I said before in last week's episode, about the Jurassic, only the multituberculates, let me try to say that in one word, the multituberculates, that did not sound like it, were present, and from that came two orders, the marsupials, opossums, and insectivores, yeah, modern shrews and moles. I think I might do an episode on marsupials in the future, maybe. Because I really like the Tasmanian tiger. They were marsupials. What? I know, right? Marsupials and looking like that? Crazy to me. I love the Tasmanian tigers. Such a shame. Anyways, and I read this from like a book that I read before, like the day before. It's like The Rise and Reign of the Mammals by Steve Brusatte. And the one thing I got from it was why did the mammals survive the Great Dying? Wait, no, the Great Dying was the Permian. Scratch that. The mass extinction event in the Cretaceous? I don't think there's an official name for it, because I'm going to talk about that later, and that's a different thing. because they were small and unassuming. Because, they could just burrow underground and avoid the heat, avoid, like, the carnage above. They could just avoid that. They were that small. They were, like, pretty small. I think in the book, one was about, like, 16 centimeters in length. That is a ruler and a bit. That is not much. That is so small. And look how much we've, like, grown. 16 centimeters. Well, there are some that were smaller, but I'm using 16 centimeters as reference. 16 centimeters to, like, around, I think, yeah, 2 meters. 16 centimeters to 200 centimeters. That's a lot. That is so much. Anyways, sorry. Ammonites and belemnites, however, were on the decline. But clams and gastropods were present in many kinds of modern appearances. Oysters were common. Brachiopods were as abundant as they are today. Brachiopods really went through it. Brachiopods went on a roller coaster ride, and they just, they ended really badly. I mean, they still are here today, but just less, Yeah. Yeah. Sad. And I mean, building on what I said about the flowers and the trees, I'm sorry, I forgot about this. But the insects back then, we can assume that they did. I mean, obviously they did. They adapted to feeding from the nectar of flowering plants. Yeah. Otherwise, and then that cemented their role in pollination. Of course they did. Now, I'm going to give you my personal favorites of dinosaurs during the Cretaceous. Why not? Because I like dinosaurs. And I know I'm saying that mammals should have more recognition. I'm sorry, but there isn't a lot that I can recognize out of. Those journals are so rare, and most of them, you have to pay for them. I have to say, I searched. I did. Now, dinosaurs. Cretaceous, it was like the proliferation of dinosaurs. They were at their peak. Now, obviously, your most favorite Tyrannosaurs. You got the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the biggest one. But they also had like little cousins. They had little baby cousins. Rajasaurus from India, and Majungasaurus, Madagascar, and there were a lot more. There were some in Asia. Well, Rajasaurus was in Asia, but I meant like China. Yeah, there were a lot more. They're like characterized by their robust body and like bulky reptilian head. If you saw that in the darkness, and there were like flashes of lightning. Oh, no, thank you. And they're also characterized by their like little 2-fingered front limbs. It's kind of cute. Now, Spinosaurus. Don't be fooled by Jurassic Park. I can't keep up with the franchise anymore. I can't. They would not have fought. They would not. Spinosaurus, first of all, I don't think would have been able to kill a Tyrannosaurus. Why? Because, honestly, they're built for fish. That's it. They're built for fish. And also, they lived in 2 completely different parts of the world. Specifically, like, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah, they would not have crossed paths. I mean, obviously, cool idea, but let's be realistic here, honey. No. But I mean, Spinosaurus also had like a ton of relatives. Like my favorite is the Baryonyx. Um, yeah, just like the Spinosaurus, just smaller. That's my favorite relative, the Spinosaurus. Um, and then we've got the Ceratopsians. And you're like, Ceratopsians? I've never heard of Ceratopsians. Yes, you have. Triceratops. Yeah, you have. I love the Triceratops. Although, like, people, I mean, out of all the dinosaur documentaries you've ever watched, you would think that they'd move in a herd, but the only remains of Triceratops we've ever seen, they were, like, solitary, so, is that really true or not? Anyways, yeah, Triceratops. We love the Triceratops. They're cool, they're wholesome, they're sick. The frills on their head, like a lot of people think that they're to protect their head. I mean, neck? Neck. They're to protect their neck. I mean, it looks like it, but there's been evidence that, um, you know, it could be chewed off. So, maybe not. And now, iguanodons. They're cool. Sick herbivores. I just love the fact that whenever they see a predator, they're like, let's stick our thumbs out and jab at them. Because they had, like, spurs in their thumbs. And they looked painful. They look painful. Yeah. See a predator, thumb him. They're funny. Carnotaurus, scary, first of all. Imagine seeing that in the dark with lightning flashes. I'd freeze. That's so scary. Anyways, yeah. Scary. Yeah. There's nothing more to say. I mean, obviously smaller than Tyrannosaurus Rex. Obviously smaller. But still scary. Now, I know I'm like shifting between herbivores, carnivores. It's just a random list, I'm sorry. Argentinosaurus, tall, really tall, really tall. So big, one of the biggest, I'm pretty sure. And I just love the fact that they have like one defense mechanism, and that's their tail that they can use as a whip. But honestly, if they were so big, how fast could they make it whip, you know? Now, onto one of my favorites, which honestly I will give a really weird reason why. The mosasaurs. Why? Because once I saw on a dinosaur documentary when I was younger, that they were taking care of their young. And I was like, oh, that is so nice of them. Oh, that is so cute. And I liked them. Yeah. But I mean, they are the first dinosaurs to show, wait, no, to have evidence that, they took care of their young. I mean, I think there was a lone female that literally stood over like at least 30 something nests, and a volcanic eruption occurred. That's so sad. And now one of my most hated dinosaurs. I hate this dinosaur. Why? Because they're mean. Yeah, random reasons why they're mean. Well, I saw this dinosaur first in a dinosaur documentary as well when I was younger. Oviraptors. I don't like them. They look pretentious. They look rude. They steal eggs. They ruin families. I mean, obviously they had to do that. It's a circle of life. Survival of the fittest. what other words are there? Yeah. Do what you have to do to survive. Rule of the jungle. There we go. Found some new words. Ankylosaurus. They're cute. Armored. Kind of like a turtle, honestly, but on land. But with with a giant club at the end of their tail. Yeah. Herbivore. Oviraptors were omnivores, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I hate them. God. Anyways. Pachycephalosaurus. The head-butting rams of the dinosaur world. Of the Mesozoic. Yeah. They're kind of cute. I would get a plushie of them. Anyways, Velociraptors and Utahraptors, they're like in the same family, that's why I put them together. I don't think there was evidence that they had like a full body of feathers, but there were some raptors that had evidence of full body feathers. And so scientists were like, if they're feathered and they're close relatives, then therefore they must have feathers. So, yeah, there you go. They have feathers. And now, Therizinosaurus. You might have seen in, which Jurassic World was this? Jurassic World Dominion? There's been too many. I can't. Jurassic World Dominion. The one with the really, really weird dinosaur with the 3 claws that looked like scythes. Yeah, that one. Creepy. But honestly, I think that one in the movie was blind, and so it was extra territorial. And so, yeah, I would not want to be in like any vicinity near it because of those claws. Anyways, that is the end of my analysis of the dinosaurs that I purposefully put on because I like them or I dislike them. Anyways, now, sadly, we are on to the sad part of the Cretaceous. We are on to, honestly, the reason why we're here. The reason why humans are, on this earth currently. Because if we weren't on this earth, then, hold on. Because if the extinction didn't happen, then mammals wouldn't be getting the upper ground and wouldn't be able to, make use of the situation and evolve into us and other animals. And so we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the extinction event. But anyways, let's get into it. Well, the end of the Cretaceous marked the start of the Cenozoic era. Although it points to the Chicxulub meteor, there were also, a lot of scientists also argue about other reasons why. For example, most of the dinosaurs were in decline before the impact occurred. There were, dwindling eperic seas. There was a subsequent loss of marine habitats. There was the effects from the rise of the Western Highlands on the climate. There was the elimination of wetlands. And so, a lot of those factors made it difficult for species to adapt properly and to adapt efficiently to properly live in that environment and thrive. But that didn't happen. So, yeah. I mean, it's the most famous mass extinction in world history, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because, obviously, dinosaurs got wiped out. And then the extinctions were, widespread and synchronous. And they were rapid and consistent with a catastrophic cause, because in all the sediment layers, there's this one layer where it's just ash. Kind of sad. Um, Notable extinctions include the non-avian dinosaurs, so dinosaurs, but not the bird dinosaurs that evolved into birds, and other tetrapods. There were also marine reptiles, but the turtles survived. There was an extinction of ammonites, belemnites, and several stalks of reef-forming clams. So the marine invertebrates did not like it, obviously. There was a loss of like around 75% of species and 40% of genera. And in the oceans, the trophic pyramids were affected from the event. So the remaining plesiosaurs, the mosasaurs, and several group of fish, all the way down to the planktonic levels, were like exceedingly affected. So, for example, the foraminifera suffered catastrophic losses. And like there were several long-lived mollusk groups that were wiped out as well. And as I said, the ammonites, belemnites, the reef-building bivalves. And during this time, modeling shows that there have been environmental changes in the marine ecosystem, which show rapid global warming of around 4 degrees Celsius in the bottom and surface waters, as well as 8 degrees on land, which persisted for 250,000 years. Jeez. And then there was a further hyperthermal event at the extinction level of the sediment. So a lot went on. The Earth wasn't feeling it, and a lot went on. Now, I'd say the two biggest, causes, scientific causes. Well, hold on, wait. The two biggest proposed causes of this extinction event, because we can't always technically be sure, is the Chicxulub meteor, the one that bashed into Mexico, and the eruption of the Deccan Traps, which are large igneous provinces, so like practically a large volcano underground. So first of all, we're going to talk about the Deccan Traps. Modeling of these traps show that Cretaceous paleotemperature proxy records can be matched with plausible CO2 emissions. And then there were also like significant shifts in the carbon-13 isotopes, which hint at large-scale carbon cycle destabilizations. And so that could have really affected the food webs from the producers up, because that, it cycles through. And then now there was, the volcanism can be plausible because the extinction level in the sediment coincided with the main eruptive phase of one of the greatest large igneous provinces of the Phanerozoic. And then there's been a lot of temporal links between volcanism and other mass extinctions. And so that's plausible, yeah. But then you've got this other guy. Factor. There was an identification of anomalies in iridium at the extinction level of the sediment, which suggests a bolide, like a bright meteor impact. And then the subsequent discovery of the Chicxulub crater in Mexico further supported this hypothesis. Like, in the recent years, the crater has been dated to around as little too within 32,000 years of the extinction level. That's pretty close. That's pretty slim in the world's history. But obviously, we can't be sure about these two factors. I mean, unless we have a time machine. I'm kidding. Sorry. Yeah. So it's quite complicated. A lot of scientists are saying it's the crater. The others are saying, no, it's these other environmental factors. The others are saying, no, volcanism. It's crazy. But I'd say the widely most accepted is the crater. I'm trying to be open-minded here. Yeah. Anyways, sadly, 75% of species died. Most of those were dinosaurs. Non-avian dinosaurs. Well, yeah. Now we're here. Alright. So that was the end of Cretaceous. I'll see you guys next week about the next era, which is... Hold on. Which is the Paleozoic. I like the Paleozoic. Wait, no, hold on. It is not the Paleozoic. It's Paleogene. Yeah, I like that. I like the Paleogene. Anyways, see you guys next week.